All Quiet on the Western Front presents one of the most haunting and emotionally devastating portrayals of war ever brought to screen, reshaping a classic anti-war narrative into something visually intense and psychologically overwhelming. The story unfolds during World War I, following a young German soldier whose journey begins with excitement and pride, but slowly transforms into a brutal confrontation with reality. From the very beginning, the film establishes a powerful contrast between illusion and truth, showing how easily young minds are influenced by patriotic ideas that paint war as heroic, only to later reveal the horrifying cost behind those beliefs. The narrative centers on a teenage boy named Paul, who, along with his close friends, eagerly joins the army believing they are stepping into glory and honor. Their decision is driven by emotional speeches and a sense of duty. But almost immediately after entering the battlefield, those dreams begin to collapse. The film carefully captures this transformation, showing how innocence is stripped away piece by piece. What begins as excitement turns into confusion, fear, and eventually emotional numbness, as the soldiers realize that survival, not victory, is their only real goal. One of the most striking aspects of the story is how quickly the characters are exposed to death. On their very first experiences at the front, they witness destruction on a scale they never imagined. Friends are lost suddenly, often without warning, and the randomness of death becomes a constant presence. The film doesn't treat these moments as dramatic highlights, but rather as routine events, reinforcing the idea that war reduces human life to something fragile and expendable. This approach makes the emotional impact even stronger, as the audience begins to feel the same sense of helplessness that the soldiers experience. As Paul spends more time in the trenches, his perspective continues to evolve. The battlefield becomes a place where time feels distorted, where days blend into nights, and where the line between living and surviving becomes increasingly unclear. The harsh conditions, mud, cold, hunger, and constant danger create an environment that slowly erodes the soldiers' mental stability. The film emphasizes these details, using them to show that war is not just fought with weapons but endured with the mind and body under extreme pressure. The relationships between the soldiers provide some of the most emotional moments in the story. Amid the chaos, they form deep bonds, relying on each other for support and comfort. These friendships become their only source of humanity in an otherwise dehumanizing environment. Conversations between them often revolve around simple things: food, home, memories, which highlights how far removed they are from normal life. These small moments of connection stand in sharp contrast to the violence surrounding them, making them feel both precious and temporary. A key figure in Paul's journey is an older, more experienced soldier who becomes a mentor-like presence. Through this relationship, the film explores the idea of survival wisdom, the knowledge that comes from enduring the horrors of war for a long time. This character represents a different stage of transformation, someone who has already accepted the reality of war and learned how to navigate it. His influence on Paul is significant, guiding him through situations that would otherwise be overwhelming, while also revealing the emotional cost of such experience, parallel to the battlefield story. The film also introduces a political dimension by showing the efforts to negotiate an end to the war. This storyline adds another layer to the narrative, highlighting the disconnect between those making decisions and those suffering the consequences. While soldiers continue to fight and die, negotiations take place far away, often driven by pride, power, and strategic interests rather than the value of human life. This contrast reinforces the film's central message about the senselessness of war and the systems that sustain it. As the war approaches its final days, the tension intensifies rather than fades. Instead of relief, there is a sense of urgency and desperation, as final battles are fought even when the end is near. This part of the story is particularly tragic, showing how lives continue to be lost for reasons that feel increasingly meaningless. The idea that peace is so close yet still out of reach creates a powerful emotional conflict, both for the characters and the audience. One of the most disturbing moments in the film comes when Paul is forced into a direct confrontation with an enemy soldier in close quarters. This scene strips away all abstraction, presenting war in its most personal and brutal form. What follows is not just an act of violence, but a deeply human moment filled with regret, fear, and realization. It captures the essence of the film's message that the enemy is not so different, and that war forces individuals into situations where morality becomes painfully complicated. The visual style of the film plays a major role in its impact. The cinematography creates a raw and immersive experience, placing the audience directly into the chaos of the battlefield. The use of sound, silence, and pacing enhances the tension, making each moment feel intense and unpredictable. Rather than glorifying combat, the film presents it as chaotic, terrifying, and deeply exhausting, reinforcing its anti-war stance. The performances add another layer of realism, with the actors portraying their characters in a grounded and natural way. There is a strong sense of authenticity in how emotions are expressed not through exaggerated drama, but through subtle reactions, expressions, and silence. This approach makes the characters feel real and relatable, allowing the audience to connect with them on a deeper level. The film's message is clear, but never forced. It does not rely on speeches or direct statements to convey its themes. Instead, it allows the events and experiences of the characters to speak for themselves. By the end, the transformation of Paul is complete. He is no longer the hopeful young recruit who believed in glory, but someone shaped and scarred by everything he has endured. His journey reflects the broader experience of countless soldiers who entered the war with dreams and left it with trauma. Critically, the film received widespread recognition for its powerful storytelling and technical achievement. It gained significant attention during award seasons, earning multiple major nominations and winning several prestigious awards, including recognition at the Academy Awards and BAFTAs. These achievements highlight the film's global impact and its ability to resonate with audiences across different cultures. Beyond its technical success, what truly sets the film apart is its emotional weight. It does not aim to entertain in the traditional sense, but to confront the audience with a harsh reality. It challenges the idea of war as something heroic, instead presenting it as a cycle of destruction that consumes everything in its path. This perspective makes the film not just a story, but a statement, one that remains relevant in any era where conflict exists. In the end, the film leaves a lasting impression by focusing on the human cost of war rather than its outcomes. It reminds viewers that behind every statistic is a life, a story, and a loss that cannot be measured. Through its intense storytelling and emotional depth, it creates an experience that stays with the audience long after the final scene, serving as a powerful reflection on the true nature of war and the price paid by those who fight it.